This is a video for some preparations that you can do to get ready to get your body into ParsvaKukkutasana. Parsva means side and Kukkutasana is Lotus ArmBalance. So ParsvaKukkutasana is arm balance with Lotus on your side. And this pose is really difficult, I think, in my opinion, and took me a while to be able to do comfortably, but it is also one of my favorite poses. So I was really excited when someone asked me to do a video on it. So there are a couple things you can do to get your body ready. This pose is really complicated because you have to be able to do a couple things. One, you have to be able to lotus your legs without your arms. You have to be able to lotus your legs in the air and then come down, obviously, with those legs lotus. Two, you have to be able to lower from headstand or handstand, but most likely headstand, and then twist your body because you have to get that opposite knee to the opposite arm. So you twist the body, with control to land the knee. So that requires a couple things. It requires a really strong twist, and it requires the strength to do that with control. So a couple things that have to be done there. One, you have to make sure you have a really strong lotus because you have to be able to do it without your hands. Two, you have to be able to have a very, very open and accessible twist. So warming up, preparing the body with lots of twists. One of my favorite twists are, some of my favorite twists are side chair, right? That's a great one because you can use the leverage of your lower arm, right, to twist through the torso. Make sure that your knees stay in line, protect your SI joint. The other one is the twisted lunge, right? And that gives you the same sort of leverage of the arm and the twist. So warming up with lots of twists to prepare the body for this so that you're not just going into it cold. And also warming up, anytime you do lotus, warm up the knees with lateral and transversal, not warm up your knees, but warm up the hips and the legs for any lotus work, always. Knees are delicate little things, you don't want to hurt them. Okay, so then we need to talk about strength because you talk about openness, right? The openness that's required for the twist, but you also need a lot of strength to do this because that lowering with control of the twist, and if you've ever tried it, you know that it requires a lot of control to be able to move all the way down without falling, right? Because we don't want to fall into poses, we want to lower into poses. So yeah, don't call it falling into crow, call it lowering into crow or lowering into your ParsvaKukkutasana. So the things you can do to help prepare you for that are some drills. Anytime you're in your home practice or in a class doing headstand, you can do some drills taking your knees to the opposite elbow. And that will help engage your obliques and your transverse abdominis and really start to strengthen those things. You want to take it to the opposite elbow and pull it back up. And I'll show you what that looks like. But I want to touch base on one thing first. So especially in this pose, it's important, but anytime you're doing headstand, I see this a lot. People take their arms too wide, and that's going to make this pose really difficult because you have to bring the knee down to the opposite one. But also, any arm balance transitions, you want your arms in the right place for headstand, so make sure they're in line with your shoulders. Okay, so line them up in the right place, and then bring the crown of your head down. Bring your knees up. Okay, make a tight little ball, and then bring the knees to the opposite upper arm, opposite tricep, tap, and come back up. You do that a couple times, you're going to feel it here. So that's a really good one. You can also do this with open legs. You can take your legs and you can tap to opposite corners of the mat. And it does a really similar thing, engaging those twisting capabilities. So you want to be able to go down and come back up and make sure you're working both sides. Once you feel comfortable with going down and coming back up with the knees, you can work on lowering into side crow and coming back up. Now, when you do this, again, make sure the arms are in in line with the shoulders. But as you come down, make sure that you're staying engaged through the shoulders. So I think people get so anxious about what's going on with their upper body, or what's their upper body, but it's their lower body because it's coming down and they're thinking about that they lose sight of their arms, and then their arms start to get all loosey and their elbows start to splay out. Don't let your elbows splay out, especially as you're doing arm balances and then having to lift the head. The arms need to be strongly engaged. Broaden the shoulders and pull the arms in here. So stay super engaged in the arms, and that's gonna protect you. Also, when you're upside down and on your head a lot, in order to protect your cervical spine, because you're putting pressure on it, the more you stay engaged in your core and with your shoulders, the more you're gonna protect the neck. So you wanna stay really active and really strong here and in the shoulders and the arms. So make sure you have those elbows drawing in and really strong arms, nice right angles with the elbows. So in order to do the side crow, I should face this way maybe. When you do it, you want to go down, start to twist as you come down, and as you do it, go as slow as you can. Move as slowly as possible. And then stabilize here. Don't be in such a hurry to lift your head, but stabilize, grip strongly, pull in with the fingertips. And again, engage your chest, press down to pull up. Press down, press the earth away to lift your chest. Think about your center of gravity. You want it just in between your hands. So you want all your weight over the space in between your hands. You want your weight, your center of gravity right here, right? So you want to be leaning slightly forward. If you let your center of gravity, which is often right here, pull you backwards, it will, because your butt's heavy. So you have to lean slightly forward to counterbalance that. All right, so once you feel comfortable with lowering into side crow, and work on going really slowly, that will help. Then you can work on lotusing the legs and moving down into that. Make sure, oh, here's the other thing. Go into side crow, then come back up. That coming back up is a whole, we'll work your torso in a whole new way. And so that's a really great way. So work side crow, come back up. Other side, come back up. It's, well, for me, it was way harder to come back up each time. So that's a really great practice. So then you can think about working on actual ParsvaKukkutasana. And one of the things with this pose is to, and make sure you do both sides, because there's probably going to be one side that's much easier. One, because you're dealing with lotus, and so maybe one side's tighter than the other, and one side's easier to lotus in midair or not. Always make sure, if you're lotusing midair, that you work on lotusing both sides midair, and that you don't have one side that you're only doing when you lotus. Always do things evenly in your body. You don't want to start opening one side and not the other. Don't get started that path. When you do this pose, you lotus one leg, let's call that your bottom leg, that's your first leg, and then you lotus the other leg, let's call that your top leg. This top leg is the leg that's going to go to the opposite arm. So the second lotus leg is the leg that's going to then be the leg that balances. You can do it the other way, but it's a little bit harder to twist. So I kind of had to figure that one out for myself. So you want to think about that. So you're going to twist whatever way is the top leg, your second leg. So there's that. And then the other thing you can do to make this pose a little bit easier is, we talked about having those elbows in shoulder height, those arms in shoulder height. Well, when you get there and you're getting ready to work towards that lowering of your lotus, you can think about drawing your elbows in a little bit to give yourself a little bit of a head start for where those knees are going to go. And that's going to help a little bit. It's also going to help you think about keeping your shoulders and your arms really active so that they're not getting loose. Because you're going to be thinking of so much about lowering the legs that you might forget about the arms. But you can walk your arms in a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of help, right? Get them in the right position. You can always, as you get more comfortable with the pose, work on keeping them steady. But so, all right. So, first leg goes in, second leg goes in, and then keep it in, twist. Maybe you want to walk that hand in slightly. And then we get the knee outside of it. And then, now, again, we have to keep our weight over
the space in between our hands. So start to grip with the fingertips. Keep that weight slightly forward so you don't fall on your butt. That weight is still in between my hands, right? So it's over my chest. And then go. Make sure you do both sides. And then you're good. You can work on lotusing, coming back up, and lotusing the opposite way and going to the other side. Anyway, so I hope this video helped. I hope it gave you some ideas for things you can do to get ready. And yeah, let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. Have a great day. All right.